So EKWB just came out with a new product. Well, of course they're going to come out with this. It's the special edition water block for the 3090 Ti Founders Edition. Now, what makes this special? I don't know. It's heavy. It's literally like a really nice, polished off looking piece of, copper with aluminum like casing. And it looks pretty sweet, but there's one problem. So, MSRP right now, pre-order, it's available on EKWB's website, is $375. Okay? I just looked it up. Shipping to the United States is anywhere between $35 to $45. So, it's $375 for the water block. Then I'm going to pay $35 to $45. So it's around, let's call it $420. $420.
Yeah.
So $420 for a water block at the end of the day.
I think the 3090 Founders Edition block was $350, I believe, MSRP.
It was something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was not,
I had one, but I never ended up installing it.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you get rid of it or something?
Yeah, I sold it like recently just because I don't have any intention of doing a custom loop. But in terms of the quality, I was like, wow, this is nice, because I had from the company Bixki, BYSKI, I think. I had their water block for the 3090 Founders Edition as well. So these were two blocks for the exact same card, but the EK one was like twice as heavy. It was insane.
God, don't get me started, dude. Do not get me started.
I know.
Oh, man.
I know. But the build quality, way better. The finish, way better. I'm sure performance would be marginally better. But still,
maybe.
It was a premium product. The biggest thing on the non-TI products in terms of water cooling, I think, is if they include a backplate, how good is the included backplate? So that's one thing I noticed. The Bixki one was basically a flat piece of aluminum, while the EK one was carved out to have more surface area and was heavier to begin with. So that's one difference. But yeah, this is the 3090 Ti. Backplate is less of a concern for cooling the card because all of the major heat producing components are on the front side.
Yes. And for those of you that want to know, it appears that the special edition does come with a backplate, which kind of makes up for some of the cost. Okay. But if you wanted another...
I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Because if you're buying this thing, you need a backplate effectively.
Yeah, because the 30...
I know you don't technically need one. You could run your card without a backplate.
Yeah, but it'll look ugly.
You're not going to.
No.
It needs to be included.
Yes. I wholeheartedly agree. I do. So
yeah,
I'm only like maybe taking off $25 because this backplate's included. Because realistically,
yeah,
it's just a piece of metal with some cutouts to prevent a short. In effect, this isn't really doing that much for cooling in this particular case. Okay, it is dissipating some heat. Yes, it's got a hybrid touch or whatever. So if you wanted a different color backplate, well, guess how much those are? Andrew, just guess. Take a guess.
A hybrid, like a water-cooled backplate?
No. They don't make water-cooled backplate for the 3090 Ti. If you just wanted the backplate, so. A different color one.
Oh, just the backplate.
Yeah, if you want to just buy one separately, like black one, because yours come with silver.
I don't know. I think maybe if you just want the backplate, a fair price might be like $50.
Sorry, people like you are too poor. Please leave. Please get out of this store. We don't want your kind here. You can go down to Macy's and buy a $50 backplate. You obviously don't belong in this store. Thank you.
It's just a piece of metal, though.
It's a precision piece of metal. Okay, so the backplate. Sorry, the backplate is $65.99.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Like
right?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I know what you're saying, but it also wouldn't have surprised me if they were like $100.
Yes and no, please. Yes.
So is this marketed strictly as a Founders Edition block?
Yeah, so right now it is only... Actually, the special editions have only been for the Founders Edition, I believe, because of the design.
Because the reason I say is I thought that the 3090 Ti Founders Edition was the reference design for other brands, whether they chose to use it or not. So that's something I haven't really seen much because there aren't that many 3090 Ti's in the wild. Basically, the only ones I've seen, other than your Founders Edition, is like the 3090 Ti for the Win 3.
Yeah, so I can confirm that it is not the same. The Strix one, the Supremx one, and mine, and the HOF, the Hall of Fame from Galax, are all different. The motherboards aren't the same. And I don't know if there is going to be a reference one for this edition because we're so at the end of the cycle. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense.
That goes back to the price of this block. It's like, well, we're only going to make about 50 of them. We'll hope to sell them, you know?
No, like
so,
really.
Like, the tooling they need to make these blocks. It's a process. They need to design these blocks. There is money invested, even if it's not in materials. It's the design, you know, and they're not going to sell that many because by the time people are buying these things to do like super custom builds, that the number of people that do that is small to begin with, but a lot of people are going to wait for the next generation rather than spend you know, $2,000 in this case because it's a Founders Edition, $2,000 on a card plus $400 for water cooling. Like,
well, just
if you're
for the
going
block.
to spend $2,400,
just for the block.
Yeah, so $2,400 for the card and block, and then
another $500 for the water cooling.
Right. So then, why not just, if you're going to spend that much? I don't know, man. I don't know. For me, like, I would.
Go ahead.
No, I would be waiting for the next generation because we already know this is the tail end. Like, if I'm not getting a card that I'm happy to use out of the box, I'm not getting a card. I'm not going to get a card and say, oh yeah, let's spend what, 2,000? Let's spend an extra 20% on a water block.
Hey, look,
that won't really do much.
You're kind of really cutting into me right here because
Hey, wait a sec. No, I got nothing against the 3090 Ti, but I have something against spending that much more to make it quote unquote better. Speaking of, real quick, how are the acoustics on the Founders Edition since you've owned it?
It's loud.
Yeah, so you're hearing it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Any idea, like, have you taken notice of what the percentage of fan speed you've hit is?
So if I want to maintain 70 degrees on the memory, specifically, at 100% in about 75 degrees ambient, 70 degree ambient.
Okay, well, that's really low for memory
If
types.
I have it at 85 or 95, it's about 50%, 50 to 75%.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
You can't hear it.
Well,
you can hear it, but it's not like, so right now it's at full throttle like all the time because I want those memory temps down in the floor.
I mean, I've had a similar cooler on other Founders Editions. Yeah, once you hit like 60% fan, you start to hear it. Once it's at 80, you're like, wow, that's loud.
Yeah.
When it hits 100, you're like, oh my God, I need to turn this thing down.
So the Founders Editions, for those of you that don't know, in the 3000 series, at least on the higher end cards, the fan closest to the bracket is a blower style. So just pretend that section is a blower. It's just a blower. The one out toward the end is actually all fan. There's no PCB there, okay? And
all heatsink,
all heatsink and fan. That fan is a loud one. If you in the computer you can individually control them. That's the one you want spinning like not that fast. That thing is loud and obnoxious because it makes like a high pitch like noise. The other one just kind of is like a lower pitch noise. It's the high pitch noises that are really annoying. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, there's fans that spin at 2,500 RPM that are quieter than those at like 1,500. They're just loud fans.
I mean, look at the Noctua NF25s. 2,000 RPM. It's like a nice low, like it sounds like your air duct in the ceiling. It doesn't, not high pitched.
I don't even think it's the fan specifically, but the air traveling through those fins is, just whatever resistance it's going through. And then, not to mention, like, if you have a CPU heatsink above it, it's just pushing air right into that and crashing into it effectively. That makes noise.
Yeah, it does. I would argue like most of the noise out of a fan is turbulence, not the actual movement. Because they've actually did an example where they took a fan and they put like a grill on it and it got wicked loud, and they took a different design of the fan, put the grill on it, and it still wasn't that loud.